Wait, Mawkzy went to blue. Oh, no. My bad. I meant to put Nass in the blue, but it looks like we're going to start, and maybe I'll switch it for him halfway through. We have Mawkzy versus Nass today. Mawkzy versus Nass. Let me switch the overlay. It should now be on the correct side. Nass has been playing amazing. Mawkzy, I think, was on a slight trip for the past couple days, but he's always been a top 1v1er, as we all know. And today, we are going to see him against Nass, who has been popping off. Not just in ones, but in all around the Rocket League sphere. He has also seemed to be in the lab mechanically, based on what I've seen from him over the past couple matches. He seems to have really elevated his game, and that is a scary proposition for everybody else in the 1v1 world. Nass originally grinded up to the top of his 1v1 stature using really smart game sense and just ground speed, but if he adds the aerial game, then he has the full package in a way that Mawkzy once upon a time actually had to do. Mawkzy, you know, originally was a solo ground player before really adding a ton of offense in the air. I swear to you, this is not how Nass used to play his 1v1s, but now he is just going to take a smooth air dribble to reset to break the seal on game number 1 for him. So 1-1, and Nass showing you what he's made of. Everybody in chat is pointing out that it is my partner anniversary. Twitch pre-types it for everybody. In case you're watching this on YouTube, Twitch pre-types this happy partner anniversary message. But, you know, it is nice to look back on how long I've been doing this now. I think that actually might be my 2-year anniversary, 2-year partner anniversary. And I tell you what, when I first started, I thought for sure I would never get partner, that it was an unattainable feat. And, you know, still can't believe where we're at today. So it's been a fun journey, but that's enough on that. Just to explain why you're going to see a ton of those. And then we also get to see everyone's native language because it automatically types it in their default language, I guess. So that's cool to see. But a minute 30 in, and only 1 goal each way. I think I just leaked this to chat. I think I'm going to be having a mini tournament coming up over the next few days. And I do believe we're going to have both Mawkzy and Nass participating in said tournament. So we might end up seeing a rematch of how this goes. So they do not have to... Yeah, Nass said me blue. I can move him back to blue. yeah, I forgot. I'll do it. He just messaged me after his air dribble that he wants to be on blue team. I'll move him next. Mawkzy, I think, cares about his color a lot too. So every once in a while, you get into matchups where it matters. Here, I'll use this as my opportunity to respond. Yeah, lol. I'll switch it next game. I usually give it to whoever gets into the lobby first, because I send the invites usually around the same time, so the person who accepts first gets to pick their color. That was Nass today. Nass picked blue, and then I just didn't listen. I had already set up the lobby for Mawkzy, and I forgot to switch it back. So he'll get the next games, but it looks like Mawkzy might not be too attached to blue if the game continues how it is so far. It should be noted that Mawkzy is live right now. Mawkzy is the kind of guy who very rarely turns down an opportunity at a show match and will play them in non-ideal conditions. And I think it's worth pointing out. But hopefully, you know, or really there'll be no excuse in the coming days when we set up our small tournament. Mawkzy will go live if he wants to, but at that point, you know, I don't think it can be used as a caveat to the game. Now, when I message Mawkzy when he's already live about playing a match, he wasn't ready to play, you know, maybe he wasn't in the correct competitive mindset. But, you know, if he chooses to stream a match that we have scheduled, that's a different story. Either way, right now, Nass has got him beat by a healthy margin. 5-1 with 2 minutes left to go. Mawkzy unable to find his footing, and chat is just spamming happy partner anniversary. You know, Twitch had to know that that was going to happen when they designed that. I think I have my game audio down a little bit. Yes, I do. I have it way down. I was wondering why the game was so quiet. I normally have it at like 90. I'm going to move it back up. Sorry, I missed a Mawkzy goal. I just completely changed the audio over the top of it. But apparently Mawkzy needed the audio turned up for him as well, because already his play has turned around. How did Nass improve so fast? I think, you know, we'll have to see. You know, the jury's still out because he's got a lot of tough competition to prove himself against, but he does, just by the eye test, look like he has made a big leap. I think a lot of it has to do with being a younger player. I think Nass is 16 years old and is grinding the game hard, so he's always been on this upward trend. It's just interesting. Sometimes you take a slight break from checking in with a player and you come back and they've really leveled up their game. Might be more credit to us not tuning into enough Nass matches than it is, you know, a huge spurt in improvement, but maybe there has been. I know when Daniel grinded his 180-hour 2 weeks for a month or so, he had a massive jump around then. Yo, Keith, thank you for the Prime. The 10 months of Prime, by the way. Just spam mechanics in practice all day long. Yeah, I think the reality is that almost everybody who is really talented mechanically had an insane grind where they're on the game 24/7. But also, it seems like that's not maintainable. I don't know of anybody who has stayed on that insane grind constantly. So while it may be necessary to get that upgrade in your mechanics, you gotta be smart and balance it out in the long term. Yo, Godlands RL, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. Make sure you thank Godlands. You just got a gifted sub from him. Right now, Mawkzy within 2. A tough start to the match, but he's found his footing, and he is so solid on the kickoffs. That's why you never have to worry about Mawkzy being fully out of a game. The way he controls kickoffs means he can string together a few in a row. This time, he's able to collect the ball and flip it for a goal. 30 seconds. Nass seemed like a better kickoff for him at the beginning, but when Mawkzy wins the race to that corner boost, he has a serious advantage. He's going to steal Nass's corner. Nass tried. Oh my goodness, what a save. Nass. How did he get those pixels on the save? I'm going to mark this. Did he wall dash in order to get there as well? That was unbelievable. He missed all the boost, and he should have just been getting scored on. But instead, a miraculous save, and then Mawkzy has no choice but to be overly aggressive as the clock winds down, and Nass able to convert for a 7th goal. So looks like he gave himself enough of a cushion at the start of the game to hold off Mawkzy. Mawkzy should have no trouble tapping in a 6th, but only because Nass had given up on the play already. 7-6, game number 1, going to Nass in this best of 5. Nass had called blue. I'm not going to type it out. But for all Mawkzy knows, we're just confusingly switching colors. In to game number 2. Looks like the prediction is potentially still open. I'm going to go ahead and end submissions now. I imagine some people just poured some points into Nass. But the good news is when predictions stay open for maybe longer than they should, it kind of works itself out in that people who at least bet on Mawkzy if Mawkzy wants blue as well, then we'll have him flip a coin or we'll go back and forth all game. You know, why not? Oh, Mawkzy! Wait a second. Is a pogo part of his game? Look at this shot from Mawkzy. Mawkzy's powered up on the orange team. I did not realize Mawkzy is taking dark level pogos. The reason why I talk about dark pogos is because the pogo shot has become a big part of a ton of 1v1ers game, but the pogo from behind the ball to just follow it on the bounce, basically no one does but dark. Just about nobody is doing that and using it to any level of, you know, efficacy. But Mawkzy clearly scoring off it. I mean, not immediately, but he freezes Nass in net long enough to then catch the ball and take it into the left side of the net where there was open space. Nass is going to put himself on the board. Mawkzy, the straight dribble. One of the lessons you need to learn when playing Mawkzy is you basically never can let him just have the ball and collect it and start carrying. He is so deadly when he has an on-card dribble that it is all but necessary to turn and dive before he can get it started. Mawkzy, his wave dash kickoff is going to win him the race to the ball at the midfield, and then he is up to the follow-up faster than Nass. Nass recognized he had lost the race, but a bit too late. Mentioned it a million times before, but if you are going to lose the race to the midfield, the faster you recognize, the better. Whether that means you turn instead and make a play on the ball or just completely leave. Do not want to work all the way to the side wall and then leave it with 0 boost against somebody with 100. Mawkzy has really picked up right where he left off. At the end of the last game, he was working his way back. We saw Nass up 5-1 before Mawkzy brought it back to about 6-7. He did ultimately lose, but he's kept that pace and has got himself a healthy lead here against Nass. Nass going for the wave dash kickoff. It worked beautifully. Nass, it seemed like a little bit of a frustration landing there just because he stayed frozen for a moment. Maybe didn't like that he had lost the kickoff again. Certainly wasn't out of the play. Nass has to double jump to avoid the Mawkzy demo attempts. Mawkzy is a very physical 1v1 player. You know, because chat will never let you hear the end of it when somebody is utilizing demos and bumps to great effect. And Mawkzy is not necessarily doing chat's least favorite attack, which is the irregular bump. He actually just does a ton of putting himself on offense and then getting defenders on the back wall and finding times to demo them, follow up for scores. Nass gonna wave dash off the resets. Perfect slot top left. Wave dash kickoff again for Mawkzy. Nass makes a play on the ball fairly quickly instead of just chasing down Mawkzy. Mawkzy wants the power slide cut past Nass, but he had the patience, did not overcommit to the initial dribble. He's in position for the cut, couldn't get the wave dash landing. I think Nass was trying to make a play on the ball, but also land perfectly. Mawkzy, nice shots to keep this away from Nass. Tough to get the angle when starting a dribble from the corner, but Mawkzy goes to the ceiling for the reset and uses the flip early as Nass tried to meet him at the rim. Mawkzy went over the top. Nass kickoff goal. Mawkzy had the wherewithal not to try and overcommit on that save and just watch it bounce off the post and stick around for the follow-up. Another ceiling reset for Mawkzy. He's going to fake the musty, and the bounce is too high such that the follow-up is not for free. Nass the other way, a little camera check to see what he's dealing with Mawkzy. He's just going to try and go for a boost starvation play. Mawkzy has the read so quickly, though, and beats him to that corner boost. Gives up on this shot. Instead, just goes to pick up all the boosts on the map. Nass is staying close, but he's having to do so on pads. Nass, does he have a counterattack opportunity? Mawkzy tries his best to slow it down. Nass actually could have had a really free follow-up, but it's not usually the right idea to predict a miss by anybody in this caliber of a lobby, and Mawkzy just completely missing on the backboard touch. Nass bumping Mawkzy at the very least. as he follows him into the corner. Mawkzy is the one who comes away with boost, though, so he'll get his possession, and he wants to get the ball into a ball carry. We know how good he is at that. Nass, though, he knows the lesson. He's played some ranked games against Mawkzy, and he knows the only time the challenge is before he gets started. This time he actually surprised Mawkzy a bit, too. Certainly not ready. Nass dunked it over the top of him. A minute left for him to get 3. He wants to make up for his wrongdoing earlier in this game, because that was when Mawkzy got the big edge. Nass going to have a great opportunity now as Mawkzy forced to back off. Nass couldn't get underneath the ball, so has to just accept that Mawkzy's going to be able to take it away, although he probably could have done a better job of maintaining possession. Mawkzy absolutely dives deep on Nass, but doesn't flip, and Nass takes the bet that he's not going to. Stays grounded himself as well. Trying to get a low 50 on this carry. All this time wasted. That's actually a pretty impressive save. But I'm not sure it's going to matter because the follow-up is in, and it's game number 2 for Mawkzy to the tune of 8-4, or maybe a couple more goals will fall in. But the bounce back from the Twitch streamer. He is live right now, should be noted. I think it's Mawkzy _ on Twitch. If you wanted to go check out his POV. One of the biggest ones content creators, if not the biggest solo ones content creator for sure. There's a couple other maybe bigger, but they are also RLCS players. Nass out of the match. Maybe a car switch as we head to game number 3. Game number 3. It's 1-1 in the series, but it is 2-0 for Orange. Now, I think we're just going to play the rest of the series out with Nass on blue. Will we see 2 more wins for Mawkzy? And if we do, will Nass regret trying to get the blue he initially asked for? I don't know. But for now, he's on defense at the start of this game. And his flicks at 0 boost are not going to result in much of anything. Mawkzy gets to his favorite spot. Nass trying to shadow closely. Mawkzy does go for the initial flick because of it. Nass maybe escaping from this offensive attack. We'll have to see. This is the finish of it, and Nass is going to flip past the ball. Mawkzy on the board first. So patient, waited until the ball was out in front of the net, where Nass was going to have to make a play off the wall, and then taps it behind him. Nass, a fake. Mawkzy does well not to have his challenge affected by that. Nass wanted the fake and then the 50. But had Mawkzy overreacted to that, the 50 would have probably been much more favorable for Nass, but instead, Mawkzy, the tenured one player that he is, knew he needed to prioritize a solid challenge. Nass trying his best to come away with the lead off this kickoff, and he should, as he finally gets possession after taking all the boosts on the map. Soft flick from Nass. Mawkzy going to make the save off of his crossbar and straight down so that he's able to follow up with a possession. He does not have much to work with. You can just tell, watching from Nass's perspective, that Mawkzy is either trying to save the little boost that he has, or he has just about none. Nass popping over the top. Thought Mawkzy was going to take the ball into the corner, so was following him there. Had to actually reverse back to the ball when he realized Mawkzy had missed. But man, Mawkzy, the recoveries have been so key for him. There's been a few different times where it seems like Nass is going to get a window to punish on a Mawkzy challenge, but Mawkzy finds his way back and keeps a clean slate 2 minutes in to this game number 3. Close shadow for Nass. Gets Mawkzy to launch the ball, and now it's Nass into the air. This is where he's looked most effective, but on 0 boost, he's going to fake, and Nass has earned it. The solid setup and the way that he has played so far in the series means Mawkzy is going to expect this air roll shot to be sent into the center of the net, but instead The ball falls and bounces into the top right. A rare kickoff mistake from Mawkzy as he misses his wave dash. Nass into the air dribble, threatening the resets. And I believe that's what Mawkzy is expecting and why he turns to challenge right at this moment that Nass turns his car, or would be turning his car, upside down. Instead, Nass just takes a regular dribble. I mean, it's really the only other way to explain it because although it looks very straightforward, Mawkzy is only ever going to challenge there if he's expecting a reset to be grabbed at that position. If Nass was only air dribbling, that would have been fairly easy to stop. Right now, Mawkzy can't chase this ball down. Nass gonna get an opportunity to start a full field dribble from the back corner. Needs to be careful and keep some boost left over. I like this from Nass. Not only does he not take the ball all the way to the net, he realizes that he can come to the ground and wave dash for a shot early. But if it didn't work out, he had 16 or so left over. I think he used a part of it as a celebration after scoring. That is the key to advancing your aerial game. Lots of different players can make full field dribbles and can go for shots on net. The problem is when they don't succeed, they have no backup, they have no recovery, and it becomes way too volatile of a shot option. So the real players who can dominate through the air are the ones who find ways to turn what is otherwise one of the riskiest, plays in 1v1 into a fairly safe one. That's definitely what Nass did there in the process of getting his goal. Mawkzy is going to get a demo, and boom, a shot directly on target. This is what I'm talking about in terms of Mawkzy's physicality. He does this a lot more than your average ones player. As soon as he has a few consecutive shots on net, he starts looking for opportunities to grab demos. Mawkzy collecting this ball. His flick is going to convert for a goal. He is just constantly waiting for his opportunity to grab a dribble, and Nass was doing his best to stay close to the play, try and break it up, but side flips the ball and gives just a little bit of separation. That's enough time for Mawkzy to get to his favorite spot. A bump off the kickoff, and it's going to be a 2-goal lead for Mawkzy. The wave dash can win the race to the midfield boost. That's often what it's used for, but the opposition falls in front of you. Might as well bump them. I think when we saw a match where Yan did a really good job of almost accepting the bumps from someone else wave dashing and using it as a method to win the race to the midfield, but not often is it that easy to control another player bumping you. Mawkzy looking for a demo as a way to finish off this play and didn't find it, so now Nass is just gonna easily roll this in. Didn't need to do anything too crazy. Mawkzy didn't have the best of recoveries either. As many wall dashes as he got here, I don't know if they helped him. He got a little bit too, worried about wondering whether he could. And he should have been wondering whether or not he should. I think Nass about to tie it up right now. Kickoff win. We talk about the race to the midfield. Mawkzy maybe thought he was going to win it because his wave dash kickoff has been so reliable for him, but Nass is there first, and it's a walk in the park to convert it into a goal after that win. Was that against KV1? I can't remember. KV1's not a big wave dash kickoffer, though. I know he played against Mawkzy. I wouldn't be too surprised if it was against Mawkzy, because Mawkzy is a very big wave dash kickoffer. Nass just shot this ball. This is a blue trail. I mean, Nass tried to make a really aggressive play after Mawkzy had the ball into his corner on the kickoff. And I mean, Mawkzy's touch was like at the side wall. It was not even a shot. Nass made it a shot. Credit to Mawkzy maybe for recognizing he could get that setup. So Nass, after doing such a good job of bringing the game back, makes the mistaken own goal And it will be Mawkzy to keep the streak of Orange Team wins as he's up 2-1 in the series. Game number 4. Real Life Dog asks, am I sick? I was sick. I'm getting over it. Or I'd say, I feel pretty good. But, sometimes stuff is still coming out of the system after a cold. You know what I mean? But I definitely feel cured. Nass is going to take a note out of Mawkzy's book and go for a bump in the orange half in order to start off game number 4. Tryharding in a private match. I love calling show matches just private matches. Mawkzy grabbing possession off the kickoff without any boost to work with, but takes a shot that is really just a method to putting Nass on the back foot. Buy himself a bit of time to steal the back corner, and he did. He's actually taking this dribble away from Nass's half. Very interesting. Wanted to see what he was going to make of it, but Nass showed why I thought it was such a peculiar move. It's so hard to control the ball, get it around, and put it in a position that's worthwhile when taking it backwards, and Nass recognizes how slow that dribble is going to be and gets to dive from pretty far back in the back corner and challenge successfully, which he otherwise would not have if Mawkzy had played the ball towards the net. Nass sees Mawkzy playing passively on the goal line and doesn't rush the play, forces him to make a goal line 50 from inches out, and Mawkzy can't keep it out. So Nass is turning it on with his back against the wall, needs to win 2 straight. Has a 3-0 lead now. Mawkzy challenge as Nass tries to set up a wall to air dribble from his back corner. Nass able to force this through Mawkzy and on target. So a 4-0 lead for Nass. Mawkzy thought that Nass was losing the ball there a little bit. At least he must have, because you see as Nass coming to the ground, Mawkzy reversing. And I think expecting to be able to take it away. Underestimating Nass's control. Wow, Nass, kickoff goal, make it 5-0. Nass completely turning around the momentum of this series after Mawkzy just controlled it for 2 straight games. Wow, what is going on here? Nass is deep inside Mawkzy's head. Mawkzy, did he expect to fake? I mean, the only explanation there is that he thought Nass was faking, or he went for a chip shot, which you don't do if the other player is attacking the ball. You only do it when they're running away, and the reason why is because if you do, Nass will just dunk it over the top of you and convert for an easy goal. So a 6-0 lead as Nass trying to undercut Mawkzy to get him out of his rhythm. He did leave Mawkzy fairly starved, so maybe not the same level of carry attack that we're used to seeing. Nass is doing a bit of time wasting now, it seems. He's in no rush to bring the ball to Mawkzy. As he travels across his net, he wants Mawkzy to back all the way off and gets to set up this dribble to the ceiling, although nothing comes of it. Mawkzy just dropped this ball midfield. Only reason he doesn't get punished hard is because Nass was starved out. Maybe a risk that he knew he was taking. And Mawkzy going to be on the board. A flick goes right over the top of Nass. Mawkzy's starting to recognize that Nass has been throwing in these early challenges, and this time it's not quite early enough for Nass. If he wants to take the ball away from Mawkzy, it's got to be right as he is collecting the ball before he has really prepared for a flick, but this time it comes in a moment when Mawkzy was in full control. Mawkzy not able to convert on this kickoff. Nass Looking for the demo, it seems, in case Mawkzy was rotating across the nets. But there was no way he was going to be able to take the ball and shoot it in time. Mawkzy missing high on his side flip flick. I'm not sure that there's enough time left for Mawkzy to miss on those kind of opportunities. Nass, near post save, escapes the blue half. Another situation where he's not going to be able to get a shot in time. So he backs off the ball. Mawkzy is actually in and out of the net, so had Nass predicted that, he actually could have probably scored, but the mind games of 1v1 lead to situations where, you know, maybe a lower level player would have just not even thought about it, just flipped at the ball with no care in the world, and that probably actually would have worked. But the meta is much farther past that here in a ones lobby like this. A minute left for Mawkzy to get 5. He has some solid kickoffs, but I'm not sure if they're that good. Nass did a good job of surging out and then being a bit of a pest in the way he's played the rest of the game. He has certainly not rushed whenever he's gotten possessions, and has tried to keep Mawkzy frustrated. Here he is right now, bringing the ball back to his back wall with 30 seconds left to go. He'll even let it fall all the way to the ground. Mawkzy is going to dive, and it's a very easy read from Nass. Now this is just a victory lap as he tries to get it another goal. Certainly going to be sending this to Game 5. I mean, I guess I could be cursing it, but I just don't think it's possible with 20 seconds for Nass to throw a 4-goal lead. We were robbed of the Brazil. We almost had a very nice Brazil if Nass had converted on that air dribble in a very stylish way to get us it, but instead, a fake kickout from Nass. Very smart from him to guarantee nothing weird happens in the last 20 seconds. Nass forcing Game 5 here against Mawkzy. Nass has been on the top of his game, but a win against Mawkzy might be one of the best that he's had in recent memory. Although I got to admit, Drowley was looking really on form when he beat him a couple days ago. Game 5. Mawkzy and Nass. A win that would certainly push Nass up the ratings in the 1v1 world. Not just the kind of mental top 10 ratings that all of us 1v1 fans keep track of. What an insane save from Nass. But also the ELO calculated ratings over on rlduels.gg. I pretty much advertise that for free every moment. They do not pay me. You know, they're doing this. They don't even get paid themselves. They're just doing that site for free. But I love it. I use it all the time now. It's just an amazing resource for someone like me, or a place to go check out all the 1v1 history pretty much if you're a 1v1 fan. Nass off the ceiling. I think had the feeling that he was protecting the ball better than he actually was. As he fell down, thought he was going to get a favorable 50, but Mawkzy actually does well to not challenge him immediately as it lands, but instead play slightly behind the ground contact in order to make sure that he's not fighting Nass's car on his hit, and instead hitting past it. Nass has been able to beat Mawkzy's wave dash kickoff a couple times this way with just direct goals. What did you call the site? RL Duels? Like the game mode, DUELS .gg. I'll pretty much freely advertise it until I die because it is so useful. Nass, what a play. This is a great dribble. Even the camera check on Mawkzy afterwards to give him the I got you look. that I always love because the opposition can't tell where your camera's looking. But Nass just gets the reset and saves it until the challenge. Will push it out in front of him, and there's a 3-1 lead. I heard that Nass learned how to do that because he's in Atto's Discord. Nass, what a shot, man. Nass has become such an exciting ones player to play. Not to watch. But not only is it exciting, I do think it's an important part of becoming a well-rounded ones player. I think not only do you have to be able to hit these kind of, air dribble resets, mechanical shots, being able to do so eases up the game for you in a ton of other ways and makes it possible for you to match up against anybody in the game. Right now has a 4-1 lead over Mawkzy, but Mawkzy has a way of keeping it simple. Mawkzy, one of the only top ones players in the game who is solely focused on ones. And I think that can frustrate a lot of top players who have to play against him. Because maybe on occasion he won't go for the most stylish, flashiest, or quickest play, but instead just the smartest ones play. It may put the non-ones fan to sleep, but those of us who've watched a lot know what it means to be as smart as Mawkzy. But I tell you what, nobody should be sleeping right now. Sure, it was a ground play, but Mawkzy with the 360 catch, keeping Nass completely at bay. Does not know when to challenge, and by the time he does, it's too late. Mawkzy ripping the flick on target after the 360. So now within one, Nass straight kickoff. Not often or almost ever does someone have this level of kickoff advantage on Mawkzy. But that is what Nass has brought to the table, especially here in this Game 5. Mawkzy sticking to his wave dash kickoff. Nass diving on the ball, going to get himself demoed, and Mawkzy's 1-2 should be long before the 3-second respawn has a chance to get back. All that comes down to is a missed touch from Nass. Just trying to play aggressive off the kickoff. I should say the missed touch does come after losing the kickoff and doing his best to hedge his position by diving on the ball with 0 boost. So, it shouldn't be completely on Nass. You got to give Mawkzy some credit for the initial kickoff win to put him in that tough position. Right now, Nass in defense as Mawkzy looks to tie the game. Takes the bounce shot to the top shelf. Is going to back off now. Nass with the ball. Just leaves it. Decides to go low. Plays what I would say he thinks is the safest possible option. You could go for some air dribble bumps. You could try and flick. Normally low 50s like this are a good way to guarantee you have very little chance of scoring, but you won't get counterattacked. But that's not how it worked out. Mawkzy forced another 50 so quickly afterwards that Nass ended up letting one in. I think everybody can relate to something that I feel like just happened to Nass, which is you want to win so bad. You might have a lead. You start thinking about how can I just make sure I hold on to it, and you end up playing way too passive and giving away a free goal when if you just stayed aggressive, likely would have been better off. Mawkzy up into the air quickly. I think he was expecting to have to try and beat Nass in a race to the ball there. Nass actually never did make a play, just stood there and waited, and is able to convert as the ball heads back the other way. Mawkzy trying to do his best to stay in control of it while picking up boost on the retreat, but got a bit ahead of the ball, and his backflip did not do the trick against Nass following up behind him. 6-5. Nass in the lead. Mawkzy undercutting him. Can he convert off the undercut? He should be able to with a nice hook shot, and yeah, he'll tie it up. Have to be so careful with low boost, and Mawkzy does a good job. I'm sure he wasn't necessarily trying to, but he never lets Nass reset. You can't get a flip reset off of another car. But Mawkzy was carrying him so perfectly on the side that Nass just forced to flop around. Mawkzy really looking to slow the game down right now. Wants to get to his carry. Tried to throw in a couple fakes to get Nass to miss, but Nass stayed patient. Not the best recovery, though, from Nass. 0 boost. He does not land smooth. He fights his own momentum. That could have been danger. Not been able to make it back, but he does get there in time. Playing on low pads right now. Demoed, but he should be back alive for a chance to make this save. Mawkzy is trying to play the dribble as quick as possible. He does not want Nass to be able to set up in net. Nass has the first save. Chip over the top by Mawkzy. Nass certainly not going to be able to recover in time, so it is a Mawkzy lead with 30 seconds left to go. Nass had an impressive first save, and I guess needed to have the guts to fake challenge on that follow-up. Try and see if he could save some of that boost to turn around and stop Mawkzy, but it's so tough to do. Mawkzy could have very well just chipped that on target. Kickoff win for Mawkzy. He is going to ice out the game by making it 2. I mean, 27 seconds left to go. There is still a chance for Nass, but that is a huge, huge kickoff goal. It went from being very, very likely to now it's almost going to require a bit of a throw from Mawkzy to lose 2 straight kickoffs, but there's the first. Nass wins it into the orange half. Mawkzy thought he was going to be able to collect the ball, but no. Nass says, excuse me. I want this ball to roll into the net. And bumps Mawkzy out of the way. 20 seconds now. Do we see any mix-up from Nass? He's had a couple solid kickoff wins. They're both going to race for the midfield. Nass knows he cannot join Mawkzy in that race, as he will be winning off the wave dash. But the problem now is Mawkzy with possession. 10 seconds left to go. Is just going to be able to bait Nass into a really poor challenge. Nass has no choice. He can't just sit and let the game end. Oh, but he does steal this one away. It's going to hit ground. All he needed was about 1 more second, and Nass would have had a very good chance on nets, but it is going to be Mawkzy who holds it down in a very close series, taking it game 5.